All right, so good evening, and here in the Philippines, and I guess it's morning here in USA. 5 months ago, I'm supposed to be doing a ranking of American Horror Story seasons, but then I got pissed off with the 10th and current season, so I decided to neglect it for a while. I don't know when I'm going to resume it, but now that I'll be back, I decided to feature the Oscars, which I've been wanting to do for a very long period of time. But instead of doing it alone, I'll be joined by one half of Petty Pumpkins by Wes. Are you ready?
Good morning.
All
I'm
right.
so excited to be talking Oscars right now. Love Oscar season so much. So there's so much to say, so much to talk about with these nominees.
This publication we will cover two categories, the leading actor and the leading actress. We'll start with the actors first, alphabetically by their surname. Let's start with Javier Bardem in Being the Ricardos. Straight off the bat, I think that out of all the best actor nominees, Javier is the one that's flexing and puzzling to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I understand his star power, and it seems like the Academy liked being the Ricardos.
Mhm.
But yeah, this nomination just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like Desi doesn't really do very much in this movie.
Yeah.
Bardem is fine, but I don't
Mhm.
think that he's giving anything that is worthy of an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, according to his Oscar records, this is his fourth career nomination. This is his third for leading, and he already won one for supporting, which is for No Country for Old Men. And we know how terrifying he was at that. But for being the Ricardos, I think the movie really focused more on Nicole Kidman as Lucille Ball. So there wasn't much any chances, opportunities for Javier to shine. I think when I rewatched the movie, I think the things that I remember the most are Nicole. Everything that involves Nicole. Even when Nicole shares the screen with Javier, it's still Nicole who dominates. We'll go to Nicole on the actors later, but really it doesn't stand out for me. Like the only scenes of him that I enjoy are whenever he's performing. I think he really is entertaining during the singing and the dancing sequences. What do you think is his defining moment in the film?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So I definitely co-sign. Anytime that he is performing is like really the only time that I think that he's memorable in this movie. Obviously, he is a very talented singer and he's also very sexy and gorgeous. So I definitely appreciated the performing scenes. But I don't like kind of like you were saying, this is definitely Nicole Kidman's movie. I don't even know how he ended up in Best Actor. To me, if they were
Yeah.
going to nominate him, it should be in supporting because I don't feel like he really makes a mark on this movie at all. But like I said, what I do remember is going to be his performances. He has a lot of charisma and energy, and that's really the only good thing that I can say about this performance. I didn't think that he really sounded like Desi very much. Desi has a much higher pitched voice than Javier does. So I didn't really, if we're talking about an impersonation or something like that, I don't think that he was really that close to the real Desi.
Mhm.
But it wasn't the worst performance I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But still not worthy of an Oscar nom, in my opinion.
Yeah, and to conclude my thoughts, I think I'd rather watch Desi, the real Desi, in the I Love Lucy clips I can find on YouTube than Javier's interpretation of the character. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's no way that I'm ever coming back to Javier before I would just watch the
Okay.
real thing. So
But yeah,
sorry.
yeah, but to be clear, this is not really a terrible work. I think he doesn't commit an acting flaw, but it's just that he wasn't exciting or this isn't his best performance.
Yeah. I feel like we're coming down kind of hard and making it sound like this is just the worst performance we've ever seen, which is
Mhm.
not. It's a fine performance. Like
Yeah.
when I was watching it, I wasn't annoyed. I didn't think he was bad. I just think that
Mhm.
there were a lot of other people that could have ended up with the nomination that probably deserved it more.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't remarkable either.
No,
So
definitely not.
so given that, where do you want to place him?
I mean, I say why Academy? Why? In my opinion,
Okay, I'll
yeah,
agree. I agree with you as well. Why Academy?
yeah.
Why? Let's move on to Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog. This is his
Oh,
second career nomination. This is also his second for leading.
The Power of the Dog was my movie of 2021. I loved it so much. And I think that a huge part of that is because of Benedict Cumberbatch. It's
Mhm.
interesting because I have not seen a lot of his work before, so I haven't been super familiar with him before this. I've seen him a little bit, but this performance really stood out to me as one that was. I mean, he's already a star. I was going to say it's star making, but I think it just really solidified that he is like one of the best actors that we have out there right now.
Mhm.
Um, just his performance is so amazing. Phil Burbank is such a terrible person, and yet somehow Cumberbatch's performance still makes you feel something for him.
Mhm.
With a lesser actor, I think that you could just write off Phil and completely despise him for the entire movie.
Yeah.
But Benedict has a way of showing us, like every single scene, he's showing us a little bit more of his vulnerability and he has a little bit of heart in there that he doesn't want you to see. And I think that Cumberbatch does a really great job of
Mhm.
every single scene showing us a little bit more of that to see the journey that his character is going on.
Mhm.
So yeah, overall, I just thought that Cumberbatch was amazing in this movie. What did you think?
I think he has a very charismatic and strong screen persona. What do you think about his chemistry with his co-stars?
I think that he has so much chemistry with all of his co-stars, and it's interesting because he has a different chemistry with everyone. Obviously, with Cody Smith McPhee, especially towards the end, there's like that kind of like sexual chemistry, especially during that cigarette scene,
Mhm.
which I love so much. And then obviously with George, he's mean to him, but he still shows like some love. I think that you really do get a sense that he and Jesse Plemons are like really could be brothers just from
Yeah.
kind of the chemistry that they have together.
Yeah.
And then I thought that he actually had a lot of chemistry with Kirsten Dunst. I thought that
Mhm.
they were electric together in their scenes. So I thought that he was really great with everyone involved. And another thing that I kind of wanted to bring up was the feeling of just. I mean, like you said, it's like a thriller, and everything is just like the tone is just like dark and kind of scary, like you're in a horror movie. And I
Yeah.
think that that really can be chalked up to Cumberbatch's performance because it's just like something looming in the background at all times, and it's
Yes.
him. Like you're so scared of like walking through the hallway, and he's there, and what's he gonna say or do? And it's
Yeah.
just like this looming presence over the house that really gives the movie the right tone and feel that makes it so good. And I think that that's mainly because of Cumberbatch's performance.
He's the one responsible for the thriller vibe, at least in the first two thirds of the movie, I think, because we know who's responsible for the final act, right?
Oh yeah,
Where do you want to put Benedict?
he is not my pick, but he's a very 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 close number two. And if he
Mhm.
won, I would still be extremely happy. Tip, I would personally put him at, and the Oscar goes to, just because I
Me
think
too.
that this performance is worthy of a win.
Let's move over to the third one, Andrew Garfield. Like Benedict Cumberbatch, this is also Andrew Garfield's second career nomination, the second also in leading, and he also haven't won. And I think this is one of the performances because he's young. I think this is one of the performances that, like, really, this is the not the arrival of the star, but this is the star. You know what I mean? This is like really Andrew Garfield's time to shine. Like this is his turn. This is his year. What do you think?
Yes. So Garfield actually is my number one in this category. I just think that his performance has so much life in it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Tick Tick Boom twice now, and both times I was just like actually sobbing at the end. And a lot of that has to do with I have loved Jonathan Larson for a long time, and Rent has been one of my favorite shows since I was like 10 years old. So I think that
Really?
yeah, I love Rent so much. And I've known about Jonathan Larson for so long. So I think that's why I connect to this movie so much. But even if I didn't, like, I just think that Garfield has a way of like bringing his energy through and carrying the entire movie like really on his back. It's all on him. And I
Yeah.
think that this is like a career making performance for him,
Hmm.
to where I think that he's going to emerge as an actor that we're going to be seeing nominated more consistently and being given better roles in the future,
Yes.
because he's
Mhm.
proven that he can carry a movie. um, so yeah, like I said, Garfield is my number one in this category. I just think that he gives a stunning performance.
Yes. And also I noticed and I observed that out of all the nominees, he's the one who truly carries the movie. I mean, Javier Javier and Nicole are co-leading being the Ricardos. Benedict Cumberbatch is supported by a very talented cast in The Power of the Dog. Will Smith is also supported by Anshanu Ellis and the kids, Serena and Venus Williams. And The Tragedy of Macbeth is also a very much an ensemble film, and Denzel Washington doesn't have much really screen time. He's the clear lead after all. He's Macbeth. So that alone, the positioning of Andrew Garfield as the sole um, lead in this movie, I think is in almost every scene, and he's the one who carries it on his back by himself alone.
Yeah,
And I really think that this is the film that finally exposed Andrew Garfield as a triple threat. He can act, he can sing, he can dance. And he did it all gloriously and very entertaining. I think of the five nominees, is the most entertaining and the most digestible and the most rewatchable performance to watch.
absolutely
But
agree.
yeah, but he's not my pick. He's
Yeah,
close. So I think he's lace. One thing that puts it back for me is because even though the performance was solid and it was great, I think the character arc was rather repetitive. And I expect it because Jonathan Larson is his own eater. His art was already revealed in the first 30 minutes. I mean, he composes a song, he pitches it, he performs it. Sometimes he fails, sometimes he succeeds, and then he's offered another job, and then the same cycle continues over and over again. And I think he failed to make Jonathan a very complex character because other than being a Peter Mojo, we only see him in the context of his relationship with his girlfriend and his friends. And while they're all very amusing to watch, I think he failed to make Jonathan a very complicated and complex character. But I think his lace. He's terrific.
yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. It is for sure repetitive. Um, but it didn't bother me. I actually did feel like he was complex, especially at the end. I felt like we did get a true arc where he kind of was learning from his mistakes and seeing the bigger picture about the things that really matter. So I do agree that it was a little repetitive, but I got enough of an arc and a change in his character by the end that for me it didn't really matter.
Mhm.
I think that his just like charisma alone solely
Yeah,
pulled that performance to the top for me. So I think that's why that doesn't really bother me as much, but I
yeah.
definitely hear what you're saying.
But even after my nitpick, still think that the positive aspects of his performance outweighs or even surmounts all the things that I said. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we love to hear it.
where are we going to put him?
So I would personally put him at the very top, and the Oscar goes to, but I can agree to put him in Slays. I
Okay.
don't necessarily mind that. So yeah, we could just put him in Slays. But y'all just
Okay.
know he would be number one if it was up to me.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Will Smith as Richard Williams
Okay.
in the biopic Richard. This is his third career nomination, also the third for leading. And just like again, Cumberbatch and Garfield, he hasn't won yet. What do you think about Will Smith's work here in King Richard?
So this performance is one of Will Smith's best performances, in my opinion. Not a career best, but an Oscar worthy performance to me.
Mhm.
And I think that he is going to win just because he's been around for so long, and I feel like the Academy wants him to win an Oscar. He
Mhm.
gives a performance that's worthy of an Oscar. People really seem to like his movie.
And he has been
Um,
unrecognized with accolades as well. I mean,
yes, I don't think he's
yeah.
really missed any awards. He won the Golden Globe. He's won some Critics' Choice Awards.
Mhm.
We're gonna see with SAG and BAFTA coming up. We'll see kind of how he fares in those, but I really do think that this is his to take. And like I said, I think that he definitely deserves to win an Oscar for this role. He's kind of similar to Andrew Garfield in a way
Yeah.
where I think that he is also carrying this movie, although he does have some help from Ingenue Ellis and, of
Mhm.
course, the actresses playing his daughters who are all amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
But this is still like the Richard Williams movie at the end of the day,
Yes. Yes.
and so I think that Will gives a really great performance. I'm excited to see if he ends up taking it. The only
Mhm.
thing for me is that it feels a little inauthentic at times, just like the characterization. And this, is how Richard Williams really is. I know that he's pretty close to the mannerisms and the demeanor of Richard Williams, but it did feel a little Oscar baity to me at times, which
Mhm.
is why he's not my like number one preferred pick, but
Mhm.
still a phenomenal job to me.
That being said, um, I'm not really familiar that much with Will Smith. He's not like my favorite actor. I only know him because of Men in Black. Before I watched King Richard, I had very low expectations of it because I'm not really a fan of tennis. But I'm really surprised by how good the movie is. It's too long for me, like 2 hours and
I
24
definitely
minutes.
agree.
Two
Definitely agree.
hours, 2 hours and 24 minutes of having domestic drama and sports drama as well. I think it's too long. They could have had cut some scenes, but I think Will gives a very strong and great performance. It's not the most original performance at all. Even though I have no problems with Will's acting, I think he's fine here. This is probably the best I've seen from him so far. I have yet to see The Pursuit of Happiness. I haven't watched that. He got nominated for that. I haven't had the motivation yet, but I've always thought of him as a comedic actor. So for him to excel and handle the dramatic aspects of the film, that's really saying something of his talent. Now, the only thing that's holding me back in this performance is that, again, you have seen countless controlling and supportive fathers. And the only way for an actor to shine is to give a different interpretation. And unfortunately, Will doesn't. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I was kind of shocked that I actually really, really liked King Richard.
Me
I'm
too.
not really a big sports drama kind of person,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
think it's just because I've grown up hearing about this family so much. So to finally kind of get a glimpse into like why they're actually, famous and everything that they did to get to where they needed to be, I think that that is going to help Will Smith get some votes in the end, just because it's
Mhm.
like a well-known property and a well-known story that kind of gives people a better glimpse into, the facts of everything that went down with their family. So, yeah, I really, really like the movie. I like Smith's performance. Like I said, he's not my personal choice, but if he wins, I would still be fine with it. More
Yeah.
as probably a career win than a
Mhm.
win for this specific movie.
Since he's not our pick, I think it's fitting if we put him in had potential. Do you agree?
Yeah, I was gonna say Slays, because kind of the way that I look at it, like I think that he reached his potential with the character. Like I don't really necessarily think there's anywhere else
Mhm.
that he could have gone with it to make it better. So I would personally put him in Slays, but I'm willing to talk this through if you're more wanting to put him in Had Potential.
Mhm. My gut feeling or my instinct right now tells me to land him in had potential because, like I said, I've seen this type of characters again and again. Like, even though the actor is perfect for the part, his acting is on point. It's spotless. If the character arc or the character itself has been done so many times before, then it kind of lessens the impact of the overall performance. So, had potential.
Okay, I can agree with that.
All right. Had potential.
Okay, I can agree with that.
All right. Now, next to our final Best Actor nominee, we have the ninth-time nominee Denzel Washington. He has seven leading nominations, two supporting nominations. He won twice. He's the only double winner here, one for leading and one for supporting. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, he's reaching a double-digit nomination, and I think he's the most nominated black actor in history in the Oscars.
Wow.
And
He is amazing. Like that, if
yes,
anyone is gonna have that stat, I think that he deserves it.
no, I haven't really been a fan of Shakespeare, especially his dialogue. Sometimes I don't understand it. It's very archaic, not only with the tragedy of Macbeth, but with other Shakespeare films that I need it to be modernized. Any sentence that begins with thou or thee is really puzzling to me. So I didn't really enjoy the tragedy of Macbeth when it comes to the dialogue. But when it comes to the story, when it comes to the lighting, to the cinematography, and of course, Denzel Washington, he's great here. He's terrific. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I have never been a Shakespeare person, just because it is like a lot of work to have to try to decipher what,
Mhm.
is being said. Um, but with that being said, I've seen the tragedy of Macbeth twice now, and both times I think that it's an amazing movie. But I really chalk that up to, like you said, the cinematography, the production design, the sound work, and everything. But then also Denzel's performance. He really does like carry this movie. Him and Frances McDormand really like
Yeah.
pick this movie up at the very beginning and carry it all the way through to the end.
Mhm.
I think that his performance is simple. I don't think that he's doing anything too
Yeah.
fancy or
It's not
crazy.
yeah, it's nothing groundbreaking as well.
No, but it's
Yeah.
good. It's very good.
Mhm.
And I think that he does an amazing job of giving us that transformation into the power hungry king that we end up
Yes.
seeing by the end.
Mhm.
At the beginning, he's a little more humble and he's just like strong and commanding, but by the
Yeah.
end, of course, he's a completely different person, and he ends up paying for that,
Yes.
literally with his head. So I
He
think
has
that
it.
Denzel gave like
Mhm.
a great performance here. Like you said, though, nothing particularly groundbreaking to me, even though you want to cheer for your main character, but by the end, like this man is just so far off the rails
Yeah.
that he got exactly what he deserved.
I initially thought that Phil Burbank is the least likable character of the five, but then I watched the tragedy of Macbeth and I rewired my my choices again.
I was just gonna say it's interesting because I feel like they kind of have like opposite arcs where
Mhm.
you have Phil Burbank who goes from being just a
Bad.
completely horrible monster to
Yeah.
someone with a little bit of vulnerability and warmth, whereas here we start out with someone who is a little more low key,
Mhm.
and he ends up turning into a terrible person. So it's the same arc almost, but opposite.
Yeah. So Phil starts us as a bad boy gone good because of Peter, and Macbeth starts off as a good king gone bad because of the witches or
Exactly.
because of the
Yeah,
power.
that's the
Yeah.
perfect way to put it. Exactly.
Yeah. When it comes to Denzel, I haven't really watched much of his films, like except for Training Day, for which one is leading Oscar. And I think sometimes he has the tendency to overreact,
Hmm.
to become overly mannered, to be overblown. But I'm astonished how quiet and subtle he is. His usual strong and commanding performance is toned down here. And you really feel that Macbeth is from the paper or from the words of Shakespeare really is alive. And Denzel is the main reason for that, the main catalyst for that. He knows how to handle the dialogues fluently and with careful consideration. And everything that I initially thought of Denzel here, as I mentioned earlier, overly mannered, excessive, is again toned down here. So I think that's the one that really elevated his performance much more. And
Yes.
I also agree with you that despite Macbeth being the most complicated and complex and multidimensional character of the fight, I think Denzel played him very straightforwardly. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
the expected.
Yeah,
Nothing
I totally
new.
agree.
I was looking for something different, and a lot of actors have played Macbeth before, and unfortunately, he ended up just being like them. I don't think it's the best interpretation of Macbeth ever. I haven't really watched that many, but what I'm saying is, if anyone wants to watch Macbeth for the first time, this film and Denzel's performance is not a bad way to start. I also love that you mentioned Frances McDormand, which was surprisingly snubbed in the supporting actress. Like, why?
Yeah, they were both so good, and I think she was really good with the dialogue as well.
Mhm.
Shakespeare is hard to understand, and the two of them are able to kind of to do it in a way that makes it understandable to people who don't really
Yeah,
know Shakespeare, or understand it necessarily. So I
yeah,
think that that was one of the strongest aspects of the movie, was just the
yeah.
two of them and the way that they interpreted the dialogue and
Also,
then performed it for us in a way that the audience can understand what's going on.
exactly. And before we forget, we also have to shout out the actress who played the witch. I mean, what a very bone-chilling
Yes,
performance. I almost forgot.
yes,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
She was the best part of the movie. Where's
Yes.
her supporting actress nomination? That's my question.
I don't know. I don't know what happened in the sport, the actress category. I mean, why Judy Dench? Why Judy
God,
Dench?
God,
Right.
don't get me started.
That's a
Not yet.
missed opportunity for
Yeah,
the Academy. It would have
yeah,
made, we're not yet in the supporting actress category, but it would have made the race very suspenseful.
yeah. I
Yeah.
agree, and
So
interesting.
yeah. So knowing what we know now, personally, I'm gonna put Denzel in his place.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's it for the actors. Because only Andrew and Denzel are in the same spot, who do you think gave a better performance? Because right now they're competing for our second and their third spot.
I personally think that Andrew gave a better performance than Denzel.
Mhm. I agree. I agree.
Okay, love
Yeah,
that.
he's the one who has the more colorful and very lively and very dynamic performance. Not that Denzel didn't give one as well, but I would watch Andrew Garfield more than Denzel.
Totally.
Yeah. So
Andrew
that's
kind of just has like a flashier, I think that he
yeah.
just can openly has more to do. So that's why it's easier to just say, he gives the better performance. You really have to look at the intricacies of both
Mhm.
performances. But even after doing that, I still think that Andrew comes out on top.
And
But both very solid.
his role is Oscar package. I mean, it's a biopic, it's a musical performance. I mean,
Right.
what more can you
Exactly.
have? What more can you have?
Exactly. What else does the Academy really need?
Right, so that's for the actors. So for the recap, we have Javier Bardem in the fifth place, Will Smith in the fourth place, Denzel Washington in third, Andrew in second, and our winner is none other than Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, that is a
Now that
man right there.
yeah, so now that we're done with the actors, I think it's time that we move forward to the actresses.
Oh, thank
So
God, my girls. I love all of these actresses. We'll just say that.
I also love all of these actresses, but I only love three performances.
Right.
So we start off with, oh my god, Jessica Chastain in
God.
The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Oh my god. I think this is one of the Academy's worst nominations ever. I think this is
Oh my
also one of
God.
I think this is also one of the Academy's worst nominated films to feature an Oscar nominated performance. I'm sorry.
Damn.
I didn't
Yeah.
like it.
Go off, sis.
The visual aspects alone, I mean the makeup, it's so overblown. It's like Jessica Chastain was made like a coloring book here. I'm sorry. I know
Yeah.
that Tammy Faye was eccentric and really into cosmetics and fashion, but something didn't really fit in here. I'm sorry to say, but I love Jessica Chastain. I love her in The Help and Zero Dark 30, but this is one of those films in which the actor commits more than 100% to a role and to a film that really don't deserve her. This is a very misdirected film. It tries to balance comedy and drama, and it has very cringy and cheesy moments that really destroyed the film experience for me. She's an eyesore and an earsore as well. I mean, her voice matches the real Fanny Faye as well, but I don't know. It's not for me. It's not her best.
Yeah.
I was really sad that, first of all, Javier Bardem really shocked me again. He's the first name to be called the actor, and Jessica Chastain is the first one to be called the actress. And
Right.
I
Great way to start
immediately,
the day.
I immediately buried my face in my palm. I like, why is this? Why is this? Where's the taste?
Where is the Taste Academy?
I know. What's your take about Jessica's performance?
I mean, I have a complicated relationship with this performance because the first time I watched this movie, I hated it. I hated it so much. I hated this performance. I was so annoyed that I wasted 2 hours of my life, and I was ready to just put her at the bottom of my list and call it a day with, no second thoughts or anything like that. But I did end up going back and rewatching the other day, and even though I still hate this movie and I never want to watch it again, I actually did come around on Chastain's performance, especially in the second half. The first half, I don't, like you said, she is very committed, and that is something that she should be recognized for. But the first half of the movie, Tammy Faye just like doesn't really have too much going on. I don't think it's really a hard performance to give other than making sure you're nailing the voice and the
Mm-hmm.
mannerisms.
Mm-hmm.
But in the second half of the movie, you see so much more of her vulnerability, especially in those scenes where, the teenagers next door are making fun of her and she goes to introduce herself to them, or
Mm-hmm.
when she's interviewing the AIDS patient on live television and she's standing up to the network. Those are moments that I actually really, really liked from Chastain. And I thought that she gave some humanity to Tammy Faye when, the first half of her performance was really almost a farce in a way, it felt like. But I think it was more grounded in the second half and actually have come around on it a little bit. And she's not even, the bottom performance for me in this category. So I do think people are being a little hard on her. I would say if you go back and
I'm sorry.
rewatch, you might be surprised. But I understand because I was too the first time. I would be right there with you if I hadn't rewatched this movie. So I absolutely do not think that she should win for this performance. But
Mhm.
I do think, I don't even know if I think that she deserved to be nominated, but I'm not mad that she is,
It's
if
not
that
a
makes
rad.
sense.
It's not the performance that you would have nominated her for a Razzie instead. Like
Yeah,
she's not the worst. That's what I
no.
meant as well. Actually, I also have a very complicated relationship with this movie and this performance because Tammy Faye has a lot of going on. She has a conflicted relationship, friction with her mother, who doesn't like her and her activities. And then, as we know, her husband is gay and has been doing some things behind her back. And by
Right.
the end of the movie, she's getting old. The young people don't recognize her anymore. Not everyone is a fan of her makeup, of her wig, of her overall appearance. But I think you nailed it when you said that, being a gay icon, uh, that's that's the only part of Justine's performance that really got her the nod.
Yeah. Well, the Academy loves a woman who, puts on some prosthetics and gives a character
Yeah.
voice and,
Mhm.
go girl, give us as much as you can in 2 hours. Like the Academy loves that. Look at
Yeah.
Renee Zellweger for Judy. I hated that movie. I
I
hated that
also hate that.
performance.
Yeah, I mean,
I was so mad when she won, but I knew she was going to win because
yeah.
that's what the Academy likes to see.
Yeah. Also like that Jessica risked a lot because the character is dangerously close to becoming a cartoon character or even a
Hmm.
caricature. And I think that again, I like the part when you said that at least even though the performance isn't perfect at all angles, and even I have no desire to watch it again, I think Jessica manages to bring humanity in Tammy Faye.
Hmm.
It's not the best tribute to Tammy Faye ever, but it's not decent either.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I mean, and like, it's just this, like you said, it's the script. Like, I feel like they were just writing a script that would win an Oscar. I don't feel like they really sat down to take the time to like write a story that would do the character of Tammy Faye justice. And
Mhm.
maybe with a different script, we would be saying something completely different about this performance, and maybe she could be a front runner. And I would be honest, like I wouldn't be surprised to see her win this category, because I think that Jessica Chastain has a lot of goodwill towards her from her other performances.
Mhm.
And, even though there are a lot of people that really don't like this performance, I also see a lot of people on Twitter ranking her performance number one.
Mhm.
I don't know how, but there does seem to be some support out there.
I don't
And
know
like I
too.
said, the Academy loves a woman in prosthetics and a character voice. So I feel like
Yeah,
we can't discount her potentially winning this award.
yeah. But even that, this is why Academy White for me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Even though I would probably put her in not our fave now, but
Mhm.
just because of what my initial reaction to her performance was, I
Yeah.
think it's fair to put her in the Y Academy Y.
So after Jessica, we have Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter. This is her third nomination. She's the fastest nominee here. She racked up
Yeah,
3 nominations in 4 years. What a
yeah, that's
woman.
crazy.
You know what? A lot of people want her to win because she gives the best acceptance speeches ever. The best,
Oh my
the
gosh,
funniest, the most unforgettable ones.
the most humble. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I honestly see her being like. I mean, she already is becoming like a Meryl Streep type figure where you just get nominated for every performance. Because
Mhm.
she's never going to give a bad performance. I don't think that we will ever see her give a performance where you come out saying that was bad. Um, I really think that she's just going to keep getting nominated, and I think that she's always going to be a threat to win.
Yeah, she's always in every medium. I mean, The Crown,
Yeah, she
Fleabag.
already has an Emmy too. Like she won an
Yeah,
Oscar and an Emmy
she grabs
within what
awards.
2 years
She
of
wins
each other.
awards. She wins awards so fast. I mean,
So fast.
how many actresses of her age do that,
Yeah. And
right?
I think
Knowing,
it has a lot to do with her personality as well. Like she's
yes,
an amazing
yes,
performer and she has a great personality. And so of course, her peers want to see her rewarded for that. So
yeah, yeah.
I was just gonna say so, but like as far as this performance, the Lost Daughter is a very interesting movie. It's
Yes.
very kind of unconventional. And what I really like about her performance here is that she definitely does take risks. This is not the cookie cutter, best actress nomination that
Mhm.
we see from some other people in this category. This is a role that you can tell she worked hard to give her depth and complexities,
Yes.
and such an intriguing character, and it's such a mysterious, kind of ominous performance. But you're so invested because you're just like, what is going on with this woman?
Yeah, and
And that's all because of Coleman. Like she just gives such an interesting performance here.
what I love about this performance and Olivia's input in general is that if you watch the movie, she does so much with so little. Most of the time, she's glancing towards other people. She's looking blankly in a certain space or area, but the emotions, the subtlety, the nuances are there. That's, I think, the greatest asset of Olivia Colman in her performance in The Lost Daughter.
Right.
But what ultimately lost me is the ending. I didn't like it. It disrupted the strong build up, the strong momentum of the character in the movie. I'm sorry. I didn't like the ending. I understand what Maggie Gyllenhaal is going towards with. I understand what the doll represented, but for it to be reduced to a line, I'm an unnatural mother, after such a strong build up in the first hour and a half of the movie, I was really disappointed. The movie brought her down. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's interesting because the first time I watched it, I definitely felt underwhelmed. After a rewatch, I came around on it more just because I had an idea of what to expect, and so the ending, did impact me a little bit more than it did the first time. But I do agree. Um, I don't know, like this performance is just so interesting to me because I think it's so different from what we see a lot of times in this category. And I
Mhm.
really just like that Coleman is, shooting for the stars and, trying to give us something unique and different that we don't always see. And I do think, kind of similar to Cumberbatch here, her character is someone that is very unlikable, especially the more that we learn about her. The
Yes.
more that you kind of, you're inclined to not like her as a person because she obviously is not a very good person.
Mhm.
And yet Coleman just has that magnetic personality or charisma where you're still drawn to her and you want to like her and you want to root for her, even though this is obviously a character with a lot of flaws.
Yeah, I was also genuinely shocked when during the revelation to Nina. She's a school teacher, and I understand the the noises, the stress that the job gives to her as well as her young kids. I mean, she's not ready for this kind of life. They love how Olivia Colman not afraid of becoming unlikable here. Even though at first glance she seems friendly, she seems nice to be with. Also, brief pause. I really laughed during the cinema scene. I think it's the most memorable aspect in the film for me, wherein she's scolding the young boys who are getting rowdy at the cinema theater.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know.
My favorite part.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
but
crazy because it seems like every time I go to the movies, I always have this problem where there are people who are being rowdy during the movie. And like, I just like felt her so much in that moment. And next time that this happens, I'm going to have the same reaction that she had. I'm just gonna like freak out and start screaming at
yeah.
everyone and threaten to call the police if they don't shut up.
However, I just felt that I was cheated by the ending. I was shortchanged. After all the tension and the friction and the conflicts, it just lead to her being stabbed on a hairpin.
I agree. But one thing actually that I kind of wanted to ask you. So, we were saying how Olivia Colman is kind of this awards darling. Do you think it's kind of similar to Frances McDormand to me in a way where she already has 3 acting Oscars, and I feel like she will probably get a fourth, in the next, in the coming years. I don't think
Yeah,
that Frances
she's
McDormand is
becoming
done.
she's becoming the next Katherine Hepburn. I mean, Katherine Hepburn is the
Exactly.
only actress with four, and even Meryl
Exactly.
Streep couldn't achieve that accomplishment.
Do you think that Olivia Colman could reach that type of prestige?
I
Because
think
I feel like she's so young.
yeah, I think she will, and I think she'll be the fastest, given that this is her time, this is her peak season right now, and she's winning awards right here and there. So why not? I'm rooting for
Right.
her. I'm rooting for her to become a multi-awarded actress, but unfortunately, it's not for the lost daughter. She's not my pick in this case.
No, me either.
Yeah,
But I will say that if she won, I would not be mad about it.
yeah, I will not complain either. And with that, since she's not our pick, I think it's fitting if we put her in slate.
I agree.
And now, the next nominee, Penelope Cruz. This is her fourth career nomination. She has two nominations for leading and supporting, and like Olivia Colman, she has already won one for supporting actress in Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
I thought that Penelope Cruz was so good in this role.
Yeah.
She's another person that I am not too familiar with her body of work.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen her a little bit. I don't think I've seen any of her Oscar nominated performances before. But with that being said, I really, really like her in this category. I really liked Parallel Mothers overall. I thought that it was a really exciting, thrilling,
That
complex film that
personally, I
really
think
makes you think.
yeah, I think it's Pedro Almodovar's best film.
Yeah,
Continue.
it's just it's one of those movies that the whole time, you're kind of thinking, what would I do versus what is she going to do? And I think that Cruz just does such a good job of conveying how hard that decision is. Especially once you get to the point where she realizes that the babies were switched and her baby died. and which is so sad. But you know, watching her just try to determine what she's going to do and going through all of these emotions of finding out, you know, that the babies were switched and everything. I just thought that she gave a really, really stunning performance. I think that she deserves a win for this. Once again, she's not my pick in this category either. I would be happy with her winning. But I don't think that she's given like any huge moments or anything that could kind of set her apart in this race. It's a more understated performance, I think.
Yes, I think you should. I think Janice is a queen, don't you think?
Yo, I love Janice.
Yeah,
She's
I
amazing.
rooted for her. I cried for her when, the twist happened. I
Right.
mean, she emotionally invested her life. She was dedicated into being a mother, a single mother rather. And I think that Penelope Cruz is one of the sexiest actors I've ever seen, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
The hair, the accent, the makeup, the
God,
body, the way the
giving us
way
everything.
the way she walks, her posture, her relationship also with the other actors. I think she has the best chemistry with with the woman who played the other mother. Don't you think?
Oh my gosh.
They're the beating, they're the heart and soul of this film. And
Yes.
I was also surprised how that relationship turned out. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but when the film finally pivoted towards it, I mean, come
We
on.
loved it. We were cheering.
Yeah.
Like finally this movie turned gay. It's about
Yeah.
time. And I just want to say, like, I would have liked to see the actress who played Anna in this, you know, the Oscar race as well. I think that she was so amazing,
Mhm.
and I think that her performance was worthy of a supporting actress nomination. So I'm kind of sad that she didn't even really seem to get any buzz for
I
that
think
performance.
I
She
think
was so
maybe
good,
I think maybe it's because Penelope's character had the flashier one and the longer
right?
character arc. The film is dedicated more to explore her psychology than the woman.
I just really, really, really liked her. It made me want to check out more of her performances. Like I said, she doesn't have a lot of flashy moments, but she's still able to connect with the audience and really take you on this complex journey,
Yeah.
which a lot of actors like aren't quite as capable of doing that the way that she is. I was like really on the edge of my seat watching this movie. I felt like I was watching a thriller
Yes.
or something, and
And
that was
even
all because of Cruz's acting.
yeah, I had very low expectations also for Parallel Mothers because Pedro Almodovar's movies are not really my radar. But I was surprised how I was hooked by the film, and the main reason for it is Penelope.
Yeah, I'm
And
glad I watched it for
me
sure.
too. So my verdict for Penelope is that I think she slays, but between her and Olivia Colman, I would put Penelope above Olivia because the ending wasn't as spectacular as I expected it to be, but at least it's not damaged by the strong build up turned very lazily in The Lost Daughter.
Hmm.
I think the problems in The Lost Daughter really affected Olivia's performance than the nitpicks in Parallel Mothers affected Penelope. That's why I'm giving Penelope the edge over Olivia.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Hmm. I agree. Penelope is my number two in this category as well.
Mhm.
So I definitely agree. I think that both her and Coleman are extremely strong,
Yeah.
but I would give the edge to Cruz as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Next, we have Nicole Kidman. This is another example of the Academy giving a nod for an almost drag-like performance in a
Yes.
mediocre biopic. We have a horrible wig. We have some horrible makeup. Aside from Jessica Chastain, Nicole Kidman's work is not also my favorite among the five. Speaking of five, this is Nicole Kidman's fifth nomination. Her fourth in the leading. She also has one in supporting. As an actress, I really admire Nicole Kidman's bravery, her courageousness, and avoiding typecasting. She's one of the very versatile actresses that I've seen. She can excel and thrive in dramas, in comedies, in musicals, in thrillers. Like, uh,
Everything. Literally everything.
not all of her roles are exquisite, but the diversity of filmography says a lot to her as a dedication as an actress.
Totally.
she's the one actress that I think deserves more than five. And I think that the one that landed her the fifth nomination isn't her best. Because once again, like what we said in Jessica Chastain and to some extent with Renee Zellweger and Judy as well. I mean, come on, Rami Malek and Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh my
Isn't
god,
it?
don't get me started on that.
Well, back to Nicole. Being the Ricardos, it's a fine movie. It's entertaining, and like most biopics, it's probably invented. I think the most controversial aspect of Nicole's performance is I think she's miscast because she doesn't look like Lucille Ball, even though with the wig and the makeup. She doesn't embody the Lucille Ball persona in I Love Lucy as well. Her voice doesn't match Lucille's.
Yes, so I mean, I co-sign pretty much everything you said. I love Nicole Kidman so much. I think that she's amazing. And like you said, I appreciate that she takes risks in her career. She is never making the same movie twice. She's never playing the same role twice. And I really appreciate that. However, I really dislike this movie and I really dislike this performance. And it all starts with the script. Like I don't think that Lucy is a very well written character in the script.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like, similar to how we were saying about Will Smith or Andrew Garfield's performances, similar here in that I don't feel like I felt like it was repetitive. Like it was just her being in, the writing room and telling them off and then going behind the scenes and fighting with Desi and then going back to the writing room and telling them off. Like I didn't feel like we really went on any type of journey with her other
And it
than her
gets,
potentially being, blackballed because she might be a communist,
yeah.
which is
And it,
fine, but it wasn't that interesting to me. Like I wanted to see Lucy going through something a little more personal to her, I think, than, potentially losing everything because of a mistake she made, 25 years ago. I don't think that that's the most exciting storytelling.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know if you saw this interview or not, but Nicole Kidman did an interview recently where she said that she almost didn't take this role because she felt like she wasn't right for it and she was really scared. And I appreciate that she, trusted that Sorkin would be able to direct her to be able to give, a
Mhm.
worthy performance. And I like that she gave it her all and she really tried.
Mhm.
It just didn't land for me personally.
Yeah, I think the film was supposed to be a tribute to Lucy Ball, but the way it was written and performed, it doesn't look like a decent and respectable payoff for Lucy Ball. I
No.
mean, the most exciting moments of the film should have been Lucy or as Lucy in the I Love Lucy show, but I don't know. She has those weird facial expressions that aren't cute to watch, that are awkward as well. They aren't even funny, and that's a bad thing in her performance. But especially when Lucille is being Lucy, she's supposed to be comedic, but it's not a good
Hmm.
sign if the movie is trying to be comedy and end up not laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I felt like watching her do the I Love Lucy scenes. It just felt awkward to me.
it was an embarrassment.
Um, yeah, I mean, I like I said, she really committed. I feel like she probably worked really hard to get the voice and the mannerisms down.
Mhm.
But it just wasn't the serve that it could have been from a different actress, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what actress would, because like I said, I don't like this script, so I don't think that this could be redeemed for me from anyone, without the whole thing being rewritten. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, unfortunately, this is probably my least favorite Nicole Kidman performance. With that being said, I don't want to just sit here and like completely hate on her because I think that she still is fine. Like in the scenes where she's in the writing room, I think that she's very powerful.
Yes.
Of course, she's giving good acting because she's Nicole Kidman. I just don't think that it was like superb acting that deserves to be nominated for Best
Yes.
Actress for an Academy Award. And I feel like she's one of the main front runners to win, especially after winning that Golden Globe. It kind of seems like a lot of people are jumping on the Nicole Kidman train. And as much as I would love for her to have two Oscars, I think that she really deserves it. I don't think that this is the performance that we should be giving her another Oscar for.
Overall, I'd rather watch Lucille Ball in I Love Lucy clips in YouTube than Nicole's take on Lucille Ball in Being the Ricardos. She didn't meet
100%.
Nicole wasn't 100% as Lucille. I
Yeah,
mean,
if I want a fix of Lucy, this is not what I'm going
yeah,
to for my first source.
it's a very unnatural and forced performance for me. Nicole didn't become one with the character she's playing, and that's disappointing.
I agree.
And
I
with
agree.
that, I think I want to put her in not our fave rather than why Academy why. Because at least there were parts of Nicole's performance that are actually entertaining. The parts of the film wherein it's Lucille taking complete control of the blockings, of the rehearsals, I think that's the portions where Nicole really shines. So I don't think that this is really a terrible or a bad performance. So instinctively, I want to put her in not our fave.
Yeah, I agree. Even though I think that Chastain, I personally like Chastain's performance better than Kidman's, but I think that the good work that Kidman is doing in this is better than the good work that Jessica Chastain is doing in Tammy Faye. I just think that the bad work that Nicole Kidman is doing in this is worse than the bad work that Jessica Chastain is doing. But since there are some good elements, and I overall liked Being the Ricardos more than Tammy Faye, I can agree to put her in Not Our Fave.
Wow, we're on to our last.
Oh my god.
Wait. What is it?
Oh, absolutely not. Oh no.
Okay, let's put it right on the top.
I mean,
even before
we already know.
Yeah,
We already know.
this is a no-brainer. I mean, by the way, unlike all of the nominees we mentioned so far, this is her first nomination. She's my number one pick. For me, she gives the best female performance of 2021 and the performance of 2021.
Oh, I 100% agree. I saw Spencer 4 times in theaters. I've watched it 3 more times since then. I literally just love Spencer so much. And even though I love everything about it. I love the script. I love the costuming and the cinematography. But most of all, I love Kristen Stewart's performance. She really solidified herself as like one of the upcoming. I mean, she's not even really upcoming because she's been around for so long. But I feel like she
Yes.
kind of proved to people that she really is more than Bella Swan. And I really hope that people will take her seriously now because she really has proven, I don't think that a lot of people could have done this role the way that she did. I don't know that anyone could have done this role as well as she did. Like Kristen just really understood the tone that Pablo Larraín was going for because Spencer is really a thriller in a way.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not your
unnerving.
typical biopic. And yeah, it's very unnerving. It's very intense. It's emotional. It's personal. And Kristen just such an amazing job of taking a figure that is so beloved to everyone and so well known and giving her so much like complexity that we have never seen in this character before. She really took someone that we thought we knew and made her someone completely different. And I just loved it so much.
And I hated that other people disliked the movie and her performance just because she was the actress who played the lead in the Twilight series. And that's bullshit to me because other actors transcended from probably their weakest eras of acting. I mean, Jessica Lange is a queen, but she started off horribly in King Kong, and look at her now in American Horror Story, right? She's phenomenal. I mean, even Meryl Streep has her mishaps as well. I mean, Don't Look Up is not one of her greatest performances as well. So for Kristen Stewart to receive such backlash just because she was an actress who played Bella Swan in Twilight was unfair to me. I mean, most of these people probably haven't even watched the film. And I don't know, just see it for yourself. I think that Spencer is probably also the best film that I've ever seen featuring Diana. The movie is not afraid also of reaching into Diana's dark places that she herself wouldn't probably want to take in. Like, obviously, her eating disorder is very painful to watch, but it's believable. and the way that she desperately wants to go back to her former house to reminisce or to because she feels nostalgic, she feels out of place in the palace and the life she's currently living. And I think even though that Spencer is mostly a psychological film, as a psychological thriller, I think Pablo Lorraine for giving small, happy and warm moments for Diana. Like I think she's at her happiest whenever she's with her kids.
Yes, I was gonna
Uh,
bring that up. Her
uh,
acting when she's with her boys is sublime.
I mean, you can watch a lot of Princess Diana clips in YouTube, but there is really a different flavor that Kristen Stewart brought to the table. I mean, brought to Spencer. She harms herself when she eats a lot of food only to throw it up. I want to hug her.
She just
It's
feels
really
so real.
yeah, it's really painful to watch her breakdowns, her tears, her disconnect. I think the movie is also very good in showing the disconnect of her to the royal family as well. This is the only performance out of the 10 in which I have no negative to say because this is perfect. She is immaculate.
Absolutely agree.
And yeah, I would give the
Yeah,
best actress Oscar to her.
me too. This is probably my favorite movie performance of all time. I don't know
Really?
why I could. Yes, I don't know why I connect with it so much, but like I love it. I love it. I love her. I just think that there's something so captivating about it. Even the movie, like this movie is one of my top three favorite movies of all time.
Mhm.
I was really drawn to it. Like I said, I saw it 4 times in theaters because I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I really, I really want her to win this. And I feel like she kind of has a shot because she did miss out on some of those precursors,
Mhm.
like SAG and BAFTA. But I feel like that kind of helps her campaign in a way because there were so many people who were
Rooting
almost
for
getting
her.
in an uproar about the possibility that she wouldn't be nominated. And then when
Yeah.
she was, all I was seeing on social media was praise and excitement and reaction videos to her name being called by Leslie Jordan. And
I
that is a
also
moment that I will never forget. Me
yeah.
screaming when
Mhm.
Leslie Jordan said her name. So there's obviously a lot of support behind her performance, and I just I need the Academy to take out the fact that they maybe didn't like the movie or they don't
Yeah.
like Twilight, and like just look at this one performance, and like you can clearly see that this performance deserves to win Best Actress,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Like there's no second choice.
I may have been indifferent to Academy's choices about Nicole, about Javier, about Jessica, but when it comes to Kristen, that was really unexpected but well earned.
Right. And see, it's interesting because with the men, I feel like, there's really anyone except for Javier, I would probably be
Mhm.
okay. I'll be fine with whoever wins. And even though I'll be fine with other people winning Best Actress, if Kristen doesn't win, I'm going to feel a sense of disappointment.
Yeah,
And,
me too.
that is not something that I'm going to feel with Best Actor. So I think that kind of speaks just how strong her performance and the love for her performances with this role in this film.
Yeah. If it doesn't win, that will become one of the most insane robberies ever.
Yeah, I think so. I think that if she doesn't win, I think that people will be talking about it forever.
Yeah. Wow. So that's it for Best Actress. So just a recap, we have Jessica Chastain as our in our fifth place, followed by Nicole Kidman in the penultimate spot, and then Olivia Colman in third, Penelope in second as the runner-up, and Queen. I mean Princess Diana, but the queen of this lineup is none other than Kristen Stewart.
Right,
Now that we've done in each category, let's rank the performances. Let's start at the
right.
bottom. Which performance do you like best the
So
most?
I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say. I would put Jessica over Javier just because I think that she's giving more. Like
Okay.
Javier, I don't think that he really had to try very much
Mhm.
for
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
nomination, but I feel like even if we didn't love the results, at least Jessica was really acting,
At least she
and
has
trying
something.
to give us something.
At least she has something to work with. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I
I
said,
agree
like
with
with a
you.
better script, her acting wasn't necessarily the problem to me as much as the script and the direction. So
Okay, I can agree with that. Next, we move on to slays. Who do you think slays among these four?
So I would probably say my order would be probably Andrew, Penelope,
Denzel
Olivia,
and
and then
Denzel.
Denzel.
My last would be Denzel because he played Macbeth, even though Macbeth is a very fully fleshed out character. He played it very straightforwardly.
So third, I would probably leave it
Olivia. I think that's
now.
it. That's perfect.
I think
Yeah.
that's it.
And of course, for the top prize, there's no question. I think both of us have the same answer. You have to flip the two of them.
Yeah, we have to put the best performance first. Like
Yeah.
Benedict is very strong, and
Mhm.
he absolutely deserves to be up there. But he's not on Kristen Stewart levels of
Yeah.
goddess. Wow,
But
look at that.
yeah, this is our first collaboration and this is our first ranking. I'm really proud that I really did this with you and I'm also
Yeah, I
excited
I
for
think it
our
says
next
something
collabs.
that
Mhm.
6 of our 10 are in the top two tiers. So we have over
Yeah.
half in the top. What that's like 60%
Mhm.
is in the top two. So I think that that does show that these categories are pretty solid. We do
Mhm.
have some good performances in there.
It's also split like are the boys, three are boys and three are girls.
Right, right. That's a good point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very good point.
So it's even. Yeah. The best actress is always more exciting to watch compared to best actor. But I really think that the top three performances for each category here really was really great. Overall great.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
totally agree.
it's not as tight and competitive compared to the previous years, but I still think that it's pretty great for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
All right. So after this one, we'll cover the supporting categories on our next video. So once again, I'm Jude and this was We're Capricorn Buddies and see you the next time around.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for
Goodbye.
listening.